So I had an issue today with a Moen faucet, and it was probably my fault a few weeks ago. I just don't remember. But the issue was that suddenly the hot water was coming out of the cold side and the cold water was coming out of the hot side. In taking it apart, one of the pieces broke, so I had to replace the faucet anyway. So what I have here is the carcass of the faucet, Moen faucet, that was replaced. And I wanted to give a quick little anatomy lesson of what can happen. So if you've worked on a Moen, you probably recognize some of the pieces. So I'm just going to take some of these things off here. This is the selector that connects to the handle that you operate, and it basically lifts up and opens the valve, and then as you turn it, it changes the mixer that's down inside here and chooses between hot and cold. Some of these you can recognize. I'm just going to spin them off. I just wanted to do this so you could see where we were in the faucet. And then this guy pops off. So this one has the long cartridge inside. And you can see that the hold pin is still in place. It's right here. And this, because I've done it a few times, it should just pop right out of there. Now, when you're trying to remove this cartridge, this is the long cartridge versus the short stubby one that Moen puts out. It gets really sticky. The O-ring that's on the cartridge that's right about here has been there for quite a while, and it can get really stuck. So what I discovered is that if you can wiggle the cartridge a little bit left and right, you can actually break that O-ring free, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. But what can happen is that if you're not paying attention, this hot-cold selector spindle can actually spin around 180 degrees, and if that happens, then hot is cold and cold is hot. And so the way that you recognize that is this little notch right here at the top. And that is the forward notch. And so you have to pay attention for that. So here's how you break this guy loose. So I just took some needle nose. There is a tool for this, but if you don't have the tools. So I took my needle nose and I dropped it down so that it's touching inside this rim, but it's touching those plastic collars. And then I took a adjustable wrench and I put it around the top of the needle nose. And by giving this a little bit of a wiggle, you break that O-ring free that has been sealed in there for a long time. And once that happens, you can then grab a hold of the top of this selector switch with a pair of vice grips. I'm doing this one-handed. And now that he's broken loose, he'll slide right up and, hang on a second here, like that. So this is the selector cartridge. This is the replacement that you can buy at the store. I think it's anywhere from 13 to 19 bucks depending on who's trying to rip you off. And so the anatomy of this guy is kind of fascinating if you've never seen one before. Again, doing this one-handed. Set my vice grips aside here for a second. So if you look inside there, so this top part, this top hole is where the water emerges to go out the faucet. And these bottom two holes, and this is basically a half-cylinder O-ring. I'm going to pop that guy off of there, like that. Turn around, and so this is the other one. This is where either the hot or the cold comes in, and this is the mixer right here. And so it's very possible for that mixer to get spun around 180 degrees and choose the wrong temperature. Again, so the only guidance is that right there. So that's how that cartridge works.